Greetings and welcome to True Life Experiences streaming live on Streets 989 Atlanta TV. I'm your host, the First Lady, EmCee Jazzy. We are the #1 show streaming the lives of extraordinary leaders through true life experiences. Tonight, I am breaking it down with an extraordinary leader. He is a non-commissioned, a senior, congratulations, senior non-commissioned officer, Senior Master Sergeant Henry McRoberts, United States Air Force, skilled in government, organizational leadership, team building, and he's a musician and choir director. Yes, he is. Senior Master Sergeant Roberts is a God-fearing, faithful servant. He is a husband, a father. He is a community leader, a Little Rock, Arkansas native who currently is stationed in Utah. Let's welcome him to the studio tonight. Welcome.
Thank you so much, First Lady. It's good to be in the house. I'm very humble. Thanks for having me.
So sorry for misspelling your name, but I've been doing that ever since we've been talking, me and my coworkers. They was like, why you keep missing? I said, because he got two. Actually, my grandmother's last name is Henry. So
Okay.
I always think of that as a last name. And then Mike Roberts.
Yeah.
I definitely know that's the last name. So
yes,
welcome
ma'am.
to the studio.
Thank you so much.
First of all, I like to say congratulations and salute to achieving such an extraordinary promotion during the time that you were coming on my show. I'm celebrating myself, and I don't really know you that well, but tonight I hope to get to know you a little better. How about that?
Yes, ma'am. I'm so humbled, and it's definitely a privilege and an honor to be able to serve at a higher capacity. So it's good to be in the house. It is.
You are a senior leader with several degrees in aeronautics, management, and human resources.
Yes, ma'am.
One of your main missions in life is to continue to instill higher education within our next generation. Let's start off sharing about how you have evolved and came through the ranks as an enlisted.
Oh, it definitely started out with humble beginnings. I'll share with you that the reason that I joined was following in the footsteps of my father, Henry Clay McRoberts Jr.
Okay.
So he also served faithfully and honorably in the Air Force. So I've watched him just kind of grow. I've watched him instill some good values on the inside of me. And so I really felt it necessary, within myself to really be able to carry forth that legacy. And joining the Air Force was definitely one of the best decisions I could have ever made in my life. It's definitely brought a lot of things to me, to include my beautiful bride, Tisha. So me and my wife, we met while we were in the military, and we'll be going on 19 years of marriage in July. Brought forth my children, and definitely instilled some values into me to continue to climb as far as being an effective leader, not just at the job, but also at home. It helped me out with being able to find the true value in being able to seek higher learning, which is the reason why I'm currently pursuing all the education that I can possibly get while I still have breath in my body. So
you're currently pursuing a master's degree, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Doing a master's degree in strategic leadership through the University of Charleston out of West Virginia, and I'm having a blast. I was a little timid at first about going to school for a master's degree. You can talk to my wife about that, and she'll tell you it was a slippery slope for me at first. But I'm so glad that I got pushed off the ledge and to continue just to push forward and to better myself. I really do.
Well, you mentioned earlier that you and your wife met some 19 years ago. Share with us a little bit about how you become the person that you are today and the leader that you are. I know it wasn't easy.
No, no, not at all. So becoming the person that I am today, that's a solid question. I would say that becoming the person I am today really comes from paying attention. And it wasn't necessarily me having a particular focus of learning how to pay attention while I was in uniform, but paying attention from the time that I was a child, following the footsteps of my parents and listening to, their guidance. And maybe there were some mistakes that may have got made along the way. We learned from them as well. And then just continuing throughout my life to really make sure that I cling myself to very positive and very influential people that I know can really help me be a better person and help achieve those goals. And then as I'm doing that, also making sure that I'm taking the opportunity to lift as I climb and make sure that folks have the ability to achieve that same success or obtain them same goals and be a better person themselves by also being reciprocal with that energy. So that's a huge thing for me and a huge reason why I am where I am today. So that's without question.
Well, you are a God-fearing man, and your family, I'm sure that you teach them the way of life and the bread of life. I'm sure you are continually to feed them. You also are a Mason. You are a true American hero and a very good example of what a hero should be. I want to salute you tonight on the show because, it's not easy to raise in the ranks of any branch of the service, and to become an E8 at your age is outstanding. So I want to salute you.
Thank you so
much. I admire you. I follow you on your LinkedIn, and I like that you show so much support to your comrades. That is very important in being a leader, and making sure that, like you say, you give back and you continue to pull others up, which is awesome. And absolutely. That's what we're going to talk about next is some of your distinguished awards that you have received.
Yes,
you've been doing some amazing things in your career. In 2019, you were the first sergeant of the year.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am. First sergeant of the year. So prior to me getting stationed here at Hill Air Force Base in Utah, I did what we call in the Air Force a developmental special duty. So I did serve in the position of a first sergeant, and I know there may be some folks who may not know what a first sergeant is. The first sergeant is the right-hand man of the commander, which is our highest ranking member inside of our squadron or in our organization. Yeah. So I serve as his advisor, his or her advisor, and I'm responsible for the health, morale, and welfare of how many ever airmen that I have inside my squadron. So within 4 years, I had the opportunity to be the first sergeant for 7 organizations, and they range anywhere from 200 to 300 to almost anywhere between 500 to 600 airmen at any given point in time. And me being the focal point, it was my responsibility to make sure that I was there for them and also be there for their families and make sure that I was there for their personal and professional growth. So through that hard work and just making sure that folks were taken care of, my supervision and my leadership saw fit for me to be submitted for that award. And
wow,
there it was. It was there. So yeah, definitely a humbling experience. It absolutely was.
So share with me a little bit about the Tuskegee Airmen Award that you won in 2020. Chief Master Sergeant Fred Archer Award. You were the recipient of that award last year.
Okay, yes, ma'am. So the
even during the pandemic.
during the pandemic, yes, ma'am. So the Tuskegee Airmen Award is sponsored by the Tuskegee Airmen Incorporation, which is they have a few chapters spread across the United States. Okay. And every year they issue out awards, and in particular for that enlisted structure, it was the Chief Master Sergeant Fred Archer Award, which was one of the original Tuskegee airmen responsible for helping to maintain craft. And so they did create an award named after him. Again, that just kind of just boils down to me being proficient at my job and at the same time also providing some community service. And so with the combination of taking care of a few things, especially like being able to help and create a diversity and inclusion program at Tinker Air Force Base, especially with all the racial disparities and things that are happening in our nation right now.
Right.
We were able to put a program together on base to help out with that specific subject and kind of cool the climate down and help people be a little bit more aware of their surroundings and who they work with every single day. Another big ticket that kind of helped out with that was me during the pandemic when it first initially kicked off. We had airmen in the dorms that didn't have an ability to really go out and grab a bite to eat because we just didn't know the necessary measures at the time and how we were going to make sure that folks were staying safe and not contracting that virus. So we were able to come up with a plan to where we were able to get meals delivered to the airmen in the dorms, 640 dorm residents in total, still allowing them to be able to get the necessary substance to survive, and didn't come up with any cases out of those dormitories. So that was absolutely a blessing to make sure that my airmen had the chance to stay healthy. So 2 big ticket items that really kind of helped me achieve that award. So it was definitely another humbling moment for sure. So
Awesome. Well, Senior Master Sergeant McRoberts, you share so many different talents and skills. Share with us a little bit about your musician career and being a choir director and your love for God. Share with us a little bit about how God has impacted your life.
Well, he's in this very moment that we're on this TV right now. He's having an impact on my life. Grew up in a very faith-based household between my mom and my dad. My dad was a musician and learned from my grandmother. And so as a young 6 or 7-year-old kid, I went from, pulling his keyboard stands to choir rehearsal and to church service. And then at the age of 13, my dad called me down on the piano, and I had found out that I had the ability to play by ear. And so he would kind of give me songs here and there. New Jersey Mass Choir, That's When You Bless Me, was the very first song that I learned how to play in the key of E flat. That's just how significant that moment was. And so he gave me this song. And then so I spent about a day. It was during the summertime. I spent a day and I learned how to play it. And by the time he came home from work, I had the whole song played out for him. And we recognized then that there was a strong talent there. So started playing for my youth choir. From the youth choir, transferred over to the adult choir, joined the Air Force, and found some really good church homes that took me in as a young man that didn't have a church home at the time. They allowed me to sit on their keys and tickle the ivories for their choirs and help direct the choirs there. And even in the Air Force and even in deployed locations that I've gone to where they have base chapels, I've had the honor to be able to go out there and help enhance those church services with a few other good airmen. And just continue to play is definitely my passion. It is my calling. I'm in it, and it does something for me, but I love what it does for others. I love that it has the ability to uplift those people that may be coming up to church and they're having a really bad day, or they might be coming to church and they got something extremely happy and they want to rejoice about, and helping to kind of be a part of that atmosphere really does something for me. And I know it does something for that congregation. And that's just kind of how it's been. That's how I do business. I've also played for a few other churches in Florida. So I've been able to play for Life Point Church, located out in Homestead, Florida. And then when I got my assignment in Oklahoma, I played for Victory Church, which was it's an Edmond campus, and the main campus was in Oklahoma City. And I had the pleasure of being the music director for those services and kind of just making sure that the atmosphere is still moving with God being present. But to answer your first question, God is everything in my life. Without him, there is no me, there is no family, there is no successful career. And I'm very, very aware of that. And so it's all praises to him at all times.
Awesome. Well, you mentioned earlier that you're currently pursuing a career and a degree in management, strategic management. Is that what you said?
Strategic leadership.
Leadership. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So share with us, where do you see yourself going with that degree? What's next, Chief?
Next chapter. The next chapter, Lord willing, we'll see that stripe. Lord willing. So with that strategic leadership degree, it serves a twofold purpose, because leadership is something that I've found to become a passion of mine once I really had the ability to lead airmen. And I felt like there's something that I really want to expound on. It's something that I always want to be able to embody and also be able to invest in the people that I lead. But the answer to your question, so at retirement, as of right now, I'm looking at trying to possibly get a job working for Lockheed Martin, which is an aeronautical company responsible for making a lot of aircraft that you see flying around each and every
day. We have one here in Atlanta.
Yes, ma'am. And so what I'd like to do is I'd like to be a part of that organization with the aircraft, maintenance knowledge that I do have. And then I'd also like to be in some sense of a leadership position to kind of help have an influence on that organization and make things better than how it was before I showed up. So that'll be the ultimate goal.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier about some of the things that are going on race related across the United States. As you know, we had 8 murders here on yesterday to my Asian and my Pacific community family, and my prayers and condolences goes out to that family. But why do we even have to deal with hate? It is with all of the things that we know about God. Why do we have to deal with hate?
We shouldn't have to. And you're absolutely right. We absolutely shouldn't have to. It's one of them situations where you almost feel as though it's a learned behavior, because the people that I've come in contact with, and I've seen both sides, that there are some people who seem to live in some sense a bitter life. And I can't speak to why it's gotten that way. Their backgrounds may be very different than how I was raised or how anybody else was raised. But the people that I've come in contact with, there's an energy and there's a feed of love, and they understand that the love that you have between each other is what makes a difference and allows us to really be able to move forward, knowing that we're going to be together to be able to work in unity and work towards a common goal and make things better in our nation. You figure would be anybody else's goal. So it's almost a thing where you almost feel as though it's some sense of a learned behavior. And if it's been a learned behavior your whole entire life, if you've been influenced by that behavior your whole entire life, and we all know that, bad habits, they die hard. They really do. So, how I feel about it right now is just one of them things where we have to continue to educate. 1, 2, we also have to continue to live by example and not waver from that ultimate goal, which is showing people how to love, hoping that seed is being planted and it grows. And then naturally love is just coming all out of their pores, where they can come to an understanding of how we're supposed to work together as a community and continue to move forward.
Right. I agree with everything that you said. I support that. That is definitely the outlook that we need to go forward with, because it is so much it's just too much. It's so much is happening, with COVID and COVID. I mean, all of this stuff that is going on with this killing and shooting. And I mean, I don't know. My heart goes out though to the community. Senior Master Sergeant McRoberts, as we were previously talking, you were recently selected to the position of EA.
Yes, ma'am.
Any reflections that you would like to give the audience?
Just looking back, what happened during this time frame?
Yes.
It's hard when you take time to really take an opportunity to get back and just kind of reflect on everything that you've done. Because sometimes you just get your head down there and you're just getting after it every single day. Whatever, your supervisors or your leaders are asking you to do, you do. The assignments that they ask you to take, you take. They want you to get a wider breadth of experience and you go get after it. And then, those promotions, they don't come very easily. We talk about the times, how many times, I've been selected for a promotion. I can also talk to you about all the times I didn't get selected for a promotion, which is just an equal amount of times that I got selected for a promotion. So to receive that line number for Senior Master Sergeant was almost an affirmation of what hard work, discipline, and dedication, what it will do for you, as long as you just continue to stick to the plan, and more importantly, stick to God's plan, and just know that He's got you regardless of whatever promotion comes your way. everything happens for a reason and in due season, and God is in control of that. So as long as you continue to, yes, ma'am, it comes in due season, and God's in charge. And so all you got to do is continue to just to keep your faith in him, and just know that everything's going to work out in your favor.
Amen.
Yes, ma'am.
Amen. I agree with you 100%, Senior Master Sergeant. That is definitely the way that we should look at it. You know, you spoke earlier about your wife. Share with us a little bit about your family.
Oh my goodness. So my family is awesome. My family is the best on the block. So a little over 18 years ago, you know, me and my wife, we met while we were going through technical training out in Wichita Falls, Texas. And she's probably going to kill me for telling the story, but I'm going to go ahead and tell it anyway. So the first time that I met her, you know, she had a little slight injury on her knee. And what I did was, and when I saw her walking with her cane, the first words that came out of my mouth was, "Oh, poor old lady." And she just got so mad and frustrated at me because she ain't nowhere near being old. She was just injured. But I guess it kind of broke the ice a little bit. And from there, we were able just to really develop a very, very strong relationship to the point to where we found like we need to spend the rest of our lives together. And every day I count my blessings. I do. I count my blessings with her, and I'm so glad she's in my life. I told you, I can tell you that those promotions don't happen alone. Yeah, I had some great support on my job, but let me tell you something about my off-base commander. Okay, without my off-base commander, there's a lot of things that are just not happening because we need to make sure we do everything and what it takes to keep the family together. So 3 kids. Tiara, she is 19 years old, and she currently resides in Little Rock, Arkansas. My daughter Brianna is 17, and she'll be 18 in September. And then my son is 16. So you can kind of call it the 3-peat. So it's, but it's good. We're in those teenage phases, and we're learning. And almost at the same time, kind of turn around and asking that question, dang, man, was I really like that as a teenager? When you got to give mom a phone call and be like, hey, did I ever do this to you? And if I did, I'm so sorry. That's not what I meant.
So, you get back what you did.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. But I tell you what, my family is beautiful. I love them to the moon and back for all the support and all the love they give me and all the lessons they teach me, not only as a father, but even as a man. And I really appreciate everything that they do for me. Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. That is great. You know, having a good relationship with everyone that is in your household is so important. And being able to talk and communicate, you know, is important. And sometimes we don't even do that because of such a busy schedule. But, you know, COVID has made us have some reassessments about things in life. Can you reflect a little bit about how COVID has affected you and your job and in your family?
So it seems as though before COVID hit, you know, I mean, my wife can attest to this. It feels like we were running at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Kids involved in debate. At the time, my son was involved in ROTC, band concerts, orchestra concerts, functions happening out on the base, so on and so forth. And it's like, when COVID hit, you kind of sat in the house and you almost held your hands in front of you and you like, I don't know what to do with my hands. But I do feel like, you know, in that moment that we're going through a pandemic, what it did was afford us an opportunity to refocus on what's really important. You figured that out real quick. Okay. Yeah. Going to job, being able to do the job, being able to pay the bills, got it. But all that doesn't mean anything if the folks in the household are not there with you and not staying safe. So we have definitely pulled tighter as a family. We've definitely been doing some more family oriented things. And it's just been awesome. It's just been awesome to be in that moment, not necessarily so much about the pandemic, but being in the moment with my family has just been amazing. It has been amazing. On the job has been kind of, I wouldn't necessarily say hit or miss. It's still been fully functioning. We're still a fully functioning Air Force. We just learned how to work around what's going on and still make sure that we still have the ability to accomplish the mission. So, of course, we kind of split things in half to make sure that folks are not necessarily coming in contact with each other all the time, to kind of prevent the amount of folks that are going to be in the same building and help keep that social distancing going, making sure that we're wearing our mask everywhere we go, things are starting to help out a little bit more now that they started rolling out vaccines. So now we're starting to get the vaccinations taken care of and things of that such, but we're still absolutely taking those protective measures to make sure that everybody's squared away. So
awesome. Well, ooh, I don't know what happened. What's going on? I hear echo like coming through. All of a sudden, wait, hold on. We good over here. I don't know what that was, but anyway, you know, we're streaming, so sometimes things come through the line. I'll apologize for that. But we're going to move on. You know, when you think back over your life, Senior Master Sergeant, are there any life experiences that you would like to share with our audience this evening that has instilled you and motivated you to be the person that you are today?
Yes, ma'am. Well, I'd say one of the things that I probably learned is that even through your trying times, you gotta learn how to smile. Learn how to smile. No one goes through this world unscathed. There's going to be some challenges that are going to come in your life. That's going to probably bring you down to one knee. But if you can kind of give yourself the mindset of understanding that when you're down on that one knee, that you still have the ability to get up, dust yourself off, and keep yourself back in the fight, that is so essential. Losing hope is probably one of the worst things I think that can happen to a human being. You always want to be engaged, and you want to be able to stay into the fight and not feel like you have to give up and lose hope. Just know that how's the saying go? I believe the saying goes, you know, it's a minor setback for a huge comeback. And I think keeping that in mind, knowing that, yeah, you're going through some challenges and some adversities, but all it's doing is just making you stronger and making you stronger for a higher capacity that you could eventually be serving in one day in your next life. I think if that's one of the biggest life experiences that I've had, that would be the one. Like I said, there's been times where, you know, I didn't necessarily lead the right way. There's been times that, you know, I didn't catch that promotion as early as I wanted to. And, you know, and when you find that you're kind of putting yourself into that predicament to where you think that is the gratification, or that's supposed to be the ultimate reward for the leadership skills and everything else that you have learned, you find yourself getting disappointed every time it doesn't work out in your favor. But when you, again, learn how to put it into self and making sure that you're doing it for self-investment and understanding that, yeah, those things didn't happen whenever I wanted to, and that I need to re-engage and refocus on what I need to be doing with my life, you'll see that the blessings just, they come down. They absolutely start flowing down. And when they do, you look back at all the experiences that you've been through and you're like, yep, that was the reason why I went through that. That's the reason why I had to go through that challenge and deal with those adversities. It was just for this very moment right here. And also to make sure that you're a testimony and able to share that story with somebody else and give them that same investment so that they can continue to press on through their life and be successful. So
awesome. That was phenomenal. Well, Senior Master Sergeant, when is your effective date, and when is the celebration going to happen? Or will there be? I'm sure it's going to be a minimum, but I'm sure you're going to celebrate.
Yes, ma'am. So the official promotion will probably be looking somewhere around the June or July timeframe, just kind of how things, you know, depending on how everything kind of fares out in the Air Force. But yeah, it'll definitely be small. But you know, as long as my wife and my children are there, it's a win. It is a win, and we'll continue to celebrate and we'll continue to press forward for that next chapter. We sure will. So
awesome. Well, we wish you continued success. Thank you so much for sharing your motivations, your experiences, and your ideas and concepts tonight with the audience. We wish you continued success. And you know, I'll definitely be following you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's definitely an honor to be on this show. I really appreciate the invite.
Awesome. Well, continue to be the hero and the leader that you are. We salute you and wish you many, many blessings. Take care and be safe out there.
You do the same, ma'am. Thank you so much. God bless.
Bless you, my friend. Bye-bye now. All right, guys. That was a Senior Master Sergeant McRoberts. He stopped by to share and reflect on his 19 years in the United States Air Force. He is a tremendous young man. He's doing some amazing things in his life, and we wish him continued success. Well, guys, you got to stream what you love. Coming up next week, Milwaukee will be in the house on Wednesday on In the Mix. We welcome Miss Cynthia Williams. She is the founder of Love from Afar. She's an amazing young woman. Make sure that you stop by and check it out. Thursday, we will be welcoming on True Life Experiences Prophet Debbie Godwin. She will stop by. She's out of Cleveland. You're going to remember her once we start talking. Guys, also make sure that you stream what you love on Roku and Amazon Fire on Atlanta Soul Blues Edition in the Mix with your host, MC Jazzy, on Blues and Old School Television. Now, I think we've changed a little bit, and that airs on 8:30 p.m., and that is on fourth Sunday, which is the 28th. We welcome Southern Soul Supreme Artist Zelda Thomas. She will be in the spotlight. We will also have a video spotlight as well that we will feature with her and several other artists. So make sure that you stream with us, guys. To my Asian and Pacific family, prayers and condolences. Guys, please stay vigilant out there. The madness is real in our communities. Stay strapped and make sure that you continue to pray for us all. Amen. I'm going to say good night for tonight. Thank you guys for streaming with me today on True Life Experiences here on Streets 989 Atlanta TV, a Platinum Media Network. Like to thank my guest, Senior Master Sergeant Henry Mike Roberts, for breaking it down and sharing his life and career with our audience this evening. I'm your host, the First Lady, MC Jazzy. Until then, keep God first in your life. We're going to exit with our video spotlight tonight is Omar Cunningham. He's on his way to Memphis. Be blessed and stay safe.